Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe, and today we bring you another Bitmap Takeover.
Another one, dude. Another one.
It's been consistent.
It sure has.
We're trying to stay consistent with this.
I think we are doing a good job, right? Would you say?
I don't think anyone can find more Bitmap videos on our channel.
Yeah, we're approaching the big 5-0s. I think pretty close as far as like
Bitmap videos.
Bitmap uploads. So yeah, again, if you have friends who are new to the ecosystem, point them in this direction.
Tell them to watch 30 hours of content.
It's a lot.
It's like a whole season, dude.
A season?
Yeah.
A season of what?
A season, like a TV
like
show.
Game of Thrones or something like that? It kind of is.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be multiple seasons to this whole Bitmap thing. So
yeah.
Season 1 was largely part of like, okay, what is Bitmap? Why are these orange squares so popular and
so attractive,
generating so much volume on exchanges and such? And then Season 2, I think, was what we're kind of in right now. It's like who's going to actually build cool shit on top of Bitmap, just to kind of like prove the faders wrong. Right?
Yeah. And Season 3 is still in writing. We're still developing that.
Yeah, the script
season
is being generated as we speak. Yeah, what's going to be like the most optimal Season 3 like narrative?
Well, we're going to talk about it here in a second.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with Bitmap Community. So it's finally here. We're thrilled to announce the launch of our new redesigned website, which looks like this. Looks badass. I don't know if we've talked about this before.
Yeah, we mentioned it, but we haven't done like a deep dive exploration yet, which I think we've reached out to bitmap.community, see if they wanted to come on to the platform.
I mean, we've been chatting since the drop. I mean, they were early into bitmaps as well, I think.
Very early. Yeah, they've always been focused on, I mean, these are like the
analytics
engineers here. And we recognize that from the beginning. It's like, damn, these guys do a really good job of like really extracting all the real relevant pieces of tidbits of information out of this Bitmap ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder what they're going to do with that. Remember? We were like,
it's like we're waiting for API points.
Right.
Still.
Well, but here we are with like a fully deployed platform, right? That kind of showcases all that data aggregation.
All right. So we got the owners. We've added 400 and change?
Yeah, if you remember, we've been using Magic Eden up until this point.
Yeah.
To kind of go over the Bitmap metrics, but we don't have to do that anymore. Now we have a Bitmap native platform, right?
Mm-hmm. Got floor price here, volume, Magic Eden, and Ornal's wallet. We have
the listed on either platform. So those are listed bitmaps, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And here we go. Block attributes, floor price. Now this is what's interesting.
Oh, okay. So we got sub 10s, like $14 million, like market cap here.
I guess that sub 10 is literally like bitmaps 1 through 9.
Wait a minute. That's the floor price?
Yes.
$14 million. Interesting.
Whoever owns sub 10 bitmaps, they won't let them go for
anything less than $15 million.
I think that's fair. That's a fair justification.
Yeah.
So we have all these other block attributes too. Perfect punks. That was also huge. 262,000.
Damn.
Wow. This is nuts.
5 million out. Epic. 21 transaction perfect punk.
Damn, dude. I wonder how he's aggregating all these. How is he pulling this from all the different exchanges out there? That's not for us to know.
Yeah, I think these are filters on
That's true.
Magic Eden, so they're just pulling it here.
Okay.
Recent listings, sales. Okay, cool.
This is it. This is the comprehensive, like, all-in-one spot. So yeah, if you do own bitmaps, I recommend using this platform to kind of give you like an overview of what your bitmap ownership, I guess, represents as far as value according to the market and according to the block attributes native to your own bitmaps.
Yeah,
that's what I've been doing, and it's been pretty cool. You know what I mean? But Bitmap community, yeah, it's just a friendly reminder that Bitmap. There's a lot of noise right now, right, in the ordinal space.
Oh, definitely. That's all I hear, dude, is noise.
Yeah,
that's all I see is noise.
Right, but there's not so much noise around Bitmap these days. I wouldn't say.
Oh, yeah.
Not as much as before. The noise right now is like all around like R6 and what are they called? Quantum kitties. Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
They can't even like get their art project off the ground after raising $15 million and such.
Yeah, unacceptable.
whatever. It's up for debate, but nonetheless, a friendly reminder.
Yeah, it says Bitmap is still the king of ordinals, and nothing is anywhere near to Bitmap, not even monkeys or frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at Bitmap here, 164 million market cap and everything else. All right, moving on. Okay, so there's going to be a launch pad on Magic Eden for Bitmap community. Tomorrow, we'll introduce parcels to the world. Mint starts at 6 p.m. Eastern. So this was recorded yesterday, and this is happening
within a few hours of right now.
Yeah.
According to our present time. So
yeah,
there was a whitelist process leading up to this. So this isn't like really like an open mint. So there was like a claim process where you had to inscribe be the bitmap before anybody else.
Yep.
And that went pretty quick. I think like 300 people did that within like a few minutes.
Yep.
And I think they expanded like the participation pool from 300 to 500. So I guess this is like a wait and see. By the time you guys are watching this tomorrow, which will be your today, we'll know for certain how well this, this land distribution event went off. Because this is the first of its kind. It really is. We've been predicting this was going to happen. This is going to be a staple within the Bitmap ecosystem.
Yep.
And finally, somebody like stepped up to the plate and actually like executed.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that looks. What are your thoughts, dude?
Yeah. So I guess we're using parcels as like an OG pass type of situation.
It's up for, I guess, interpretation. What can be done with the parcel? Like parcels can be used in all kinds of different.
Yeah,
manners,
I guess
right?
it doesn't have to be used just like for the metaverse specifically.
No. I mean, parcels at some point are going to become like digital commodity, like access points, right?
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to deploy some sort of virtual content on those parcels to extract value from them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. All right, that's happening in Magic Eden. All right, we got another inscribe.space. Avatar integration is live. Put your avatar to the test. Join the fun on bitmapland.xyz.
Yeah, these were airdropped, I think, a couple weeks ago. What do you think, dude? First impressions. Inscribe.space. I mean, this looks like, I have a 6-year-old in my household. This looks very familiar. I've seen kids do this pretty actively. It feels like Roblox, right? I mean, it's missing obviously a lot of content, but that's
Minecraft,
Roblox, whatever, dude. Same shit.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
Well, the point is this is all on chain, right? This is happening as close to Bitcoin as you can get. Way closer than Roblox or Minecraft, right?
Way closer.
What do you think, dude? Tell me your thoughts. I need to hear your...
Well, I'm glad to see that there's a multiplayer aspect to it now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And so now we're starting to see the beginnings of like 3D metaverse experiences.
Yeah, it's checking those boxes, right? Like for the metaverse to become, I guess, like something transformative compared to the internet. That whole multiplayer thing is a big deal, right? Now it's like, okay, now we need to populate this space with some like, I guess, what's the word? Quality content.
Some content,
some good content, right? Something engaging.
Yeah, there's a lot of open space back there, dude.
There is a lot. And this is all deployable space, and people can start installing applications. And look at that, dude. User-generated content.
That's
be more specific.
Yep. So I guess anybody can create these avatars, or at least the texture of these avatars, right? And so it says avatar selection UI is clean, beautiful, just like I knew it would be. Awesome from inscribe.space.
Yeah, it is pretty easy. You literally just connect your wallet once you're in that virtual space, and you just look through your list of avatar options and just deploy, and you're there. In the click of a button, dude. That is a pretty nice experience. But yeah, this is like the beginnings of unlocking a UGC economy, which is a big deal.
Right.
Saw that happen in Decentraland. That was largely the big like driver of participation early on, right? Is like people can come in, create some stuff, and potentially monetize that. That's attractive, right? That's what whole Roblox is basically about.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So kind of moving on from the avatar space, we got an airdrop. So I think this is a CBRC20, right?
That's what I'm hearing, yeah.
Yeah, so this airdrop's going to be occurring to Bitmap holders. So I don't know if there's like a segment of Bitmap holders or all Bitmap holders.
I think... Obviously, there's not much clarity here, but I would assume if you're saying bitmap holders, you would include them all.
All 32,000.
So I'm interested to see like what is the mechanism that they're going to leverage as far as like how are they going to actually airdrop to 32,000 people?
Yeah, it could be a claim process, or it could actually be a distribution of assets.
Yeah, like another BMP in the making, essentially.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
If they're gonna do like a actual distribution, like an airdrop that we're like used to, it would have to be through tap, right? Kind of like how Karma.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think tap supports CBRC20s.
No.
Yeah, so this is probably another BMP like claim process in the making.
Yeah,
most likely.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, we got, let's start a bitmap drop list. I'll pin in my profile. Let me know if I missed any. So there's BMP, Troll, RPG, TZ, Karma, and BTMP.
Something's missing from this list, dude.
What's missing, dude?
The bitmap token, dude. the original bitmap token.
The original one?
BMT, dude. Come on.
Oh, that's a block drop token, dude.
I guess maybe that's why it's not on the list.
Yeah.
Well, it says bitmap drop list. You don't think block drops?
Yeah, that does qualify.
Right. So that's just
somebody's not paying attention. That's what's happening here, dude.
Well, I mean, it's not readily, I guess, accessible either.
Yeah, not yet. So to get the BMT token, which is a block drop, which you can claim in 1,000 years from now if you want.
Yeah, but nobody cares
Why
about
not?
that.
Why wouldn't you want to wait 1,000 years for claiming this?
No thanks, dude. I want my tokens now, and I want I want to participate.
Well, the first step needs to be bitmap indexing needs to be updated for Jubilee.
Correct.
And then once that's done, then you'll be able to go to mscribe, select all the block drop tokens of your desire that's at least deployed for the bitmap community, and then you can inscribe them all.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the manual injection of arbitrary tokens into the bitmap ecosystem, which is perfectly fine. We've been living in the arbitrary era for 15 years since the inception of cryptocurrency.
Yep.
So this is like as expected, right? This is supposed to happen. And this list is only going to get longer and longer and longer over time, I'm sure.
Yeah, because everybody wants to tap into the biggest non-fungible project associated with the metaverse.
Yeah, but tapping in with just slinging tokens out there seems kind of like
simple.
But to what end, I guess? Like, what's the...
It depends on what these projects are doing, if they're doing anything at all.
Yeah.
Because this is a strategy for marketing.
Yeah, I mean, right? Karma is on-chain monkey ecosystem. Like, that's a big brand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know necessarily for sure if bitmap is... it says maybe on there. So let's assume that maybe turns to...
I think it's for bitmap. I don't think
it hasn't been declared as such, but I think the community's fighting for their allocation. Considering they are airdropping the trac holders, and like bitmap is very critical to trac and its success and everything.
Yeah.
Proliferation. So I don't know, maybe, but let's assume it does get distributed to bitmap holders. That's a big deal. Right?
Yeah, that's 32,000 people.
I can imagine the on-chain monkey experience somehow having some hyper relevance to bitmap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
so
this is like step one for on-chain monkeys being in the metaverse.
Yeah, like a true activation, right? Like now they have tokens distributed to all the land holders out there. Now it's like, this is the beginning. How these two ecosystems kind of merge and play together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and then there's a whole non-arbitrary list in the making. So at some point, that's not obvious yet.
Mm-hmm.
But those are going to be two competing categories as far as like native commodities to the bitmap economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on mscribe, it's going to look a lot like this. When you plug in your bitmap, you're just going to have a list exactly like this of different block drop tokens you can claim.
Yeah, correct.
Depending on if your bitmap has that.
Yeah, because your bitmap may not have all the patterns that people have been deploying, and so some bitmaps are going to have more, less, and you'll be able to inscribe them all there. Yeah,
it's a whole thing to kind of like understand. So give it some time for those of you who are like true believers of this non-arbitrary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a learning curve, right?
Yeah,
and a technical curve to enable all this stuff.
That's right,
which is exactly what we're waiting for.
Yep. All right, moving on. We got a tweet by OKX, actually by CryptoFox. It says, "Still selling your bitmap after seeing this." It says the global metaverse market is expected to reach over $900 billion by 2030.
It's a big number, dude.
Is it? I was going to ask you if that's a big number.
I think that is a big number.
We've seen bigger, though.
We've talked about this a lot, like in the past, though. Like I'm talking about the past. Whenever we first started seeing these multi-trillion-dollar predictions.
Yeah,
I'm talking like
after Facebook transitioned to Meta. That's when all
Pre-Bitmap.
these. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were making these crazy outlandish predictions, and we're like, is this like a projection for like Web3 metaverses, or like what do they mean by the global metaverse market?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's not a real metaverse unless it's Web3 enabled.
I totally agree. I don't think you can have like a true digital economy unless it has like Web3 ownership as part of like that that whole ecosystem, right? But the world does not agree. We have like some of the biggest companies.
Well, the world does not agree, but they're wrong.
Whatever. They might be wrong. They probably are, but it's gonna take a lot of innovation in
the Web3 space to
like prove them wrong.
Unseat that. Yeah, correct.
Correct. Yeah, it's quite the behemoth we're up against.
Yeah. I mean, well, they've had a huge runway so far, right? So
correct. Yeah. So nonetheless, if this does like this is like an all-encompassing projection, including like Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, whatever else spins up. I'm sure Disney's gonna have their own metaverse at some point. That's gonna be wild. Then that does seem like a small number.
Yeah. When you really play this out, the metaverse is going to compete with the GDP of nation states eventually.
Yeah.
So this is the GDP of a really regular sized country, smallish.
Yeah. So to us, this is nothing new. This is why we've been building in the metaverse space for 4 years now, because we think this number is going to far exceed at some point in our lifetimes, and it's going to become ubiquitous, part of everyday life.
It is,
but it's just not obvious yet.
All right, finally, we got welcome to trac BTC. Come to Doginals. Don't forget, Doginals also has Dogemap.
That tweet doesn't really matter. What matters more is Trac Core. Trac Core is rolling out.
Yeah.
So here it is. This is the current status of what's supported by Trac Core. If you don't know what that is,
watch our video from yesterday.
Correct. Yeah, it's a big fucking deal, actually.
Yeah.
It's been like a 9-month or so technology
development cycle.
Correct.
And Trac has utility built into it.
Tremendous utility, right? And of course, this applies heavily to Bitmap, because without Trac, I don't think Bitmap could have really taken off. Right?
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's
like vice versa too.
Correct. Yeah, there's definitely a symbiotic relationship there.
Yeah.
As indexers have throughout the entire ordinal space.
I remember when we discovered Bitmap, that's when we were really identifying how critical indexing is.
Yeah.
During that time.
Yeah, I know.
And that's why we were talking about Trac since it was 4 or 5 cents.
Yeah, and what we're hoping is they're providing this really fucking critical infrastructure service that enables, platform developers like ourselves to actually know what's going on, so we can actually, display the correct information and such.
Yeah.
And not create,
confusion and
or
fake bitmaps.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Keep the market clean, right? That our precious bitmappers are participating in. We don't want everyone to get duped by the incorrect information. So damn, thank you, Benny, for providing us all this clean infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
But in the back of our minds, it's always been man, this is not sustainable. A single entity can't just uphold everything
correct
indefinitely. So it's we're really hoping this becomes a distributed effort down the line.
And it is with Trac Core. Right?
Exactly.
So you can download Trac Core. You need about 500 gigabytes of space, 8 gigabytes of RAM, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Run it, and you'll be able to tap into the TAP protocol indexing
right now,
which includes NATs and includes all TAP tokens as well. Mm-hmm. And you're basically, you can, if you need the API calls from Benny, well, you just run it yourself, and now you're just calling your own systems instead.
Correct.
And so then eventually Bitmap's going to be updated with Jubilee. Parcels, very important. Rest of ordinals, they're going to be creating wallets, pipe protocol, and then Doginals.
Yeah. So it's a good thing Bitmap's first on that list, and we know firsthand Benny is like for sure. He's built trac, I think, purposed to support Bitmap and the metaverse. He's told us that directly. He's like, dude, it's like trac is built for Bitmap. It really is.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a big deal. The more trac grows and it becomes like this behemoth over time, which I think it will. It's already attracting like the right players in the space. On-chain monkeys is a good indication of that.
Yep.
The better Bitmap outlook becomes, in our opinion.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for us. We've covered as much as we could discover over the last week. If we missed anything, let us know in the comment section below. Also, be sure to watch our trac core video from yesterday. It breaks down everything trac is doing and how important it is. And the NAT video that we posted on Monday. Yep.
If you're curious to learn more about like what the non-arbitrary commodities layer looks like, I think that's the best place to look.
Yeah, agreed.
For sure. So it's happening. People are slowly starting to understand, including ourselves, like the magnitude of what all this stuff could actually enable.
Yeah.
Like it's getting kind of wild, these projections and such.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Definitely follow along with that because NATs, DMT is going to be a very like permeated component within the Bitmap ecosystem.
Yeah, agreed. All right, guys, appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.